Hi, everyone. This is Jennifer, and I'm coming to you live again with a very interesting conversation. And I'm quite sure you guys are going to have a lot of fun listening to this one. Um, we talk about change, we talk about um, wanting to move up in life, we talk about wanting to feel good about ourselves, but many of us seem to be stuck. And God knows with what COVID has been bringing to us, things have gotten a bit sluggish. Things have gotten a bit not too cool for many of us. But then again, we have people amongst us, and my guest today is one of those amazing women who brings a different light, a different spark to how it is that we can become grander versions of ourselves. Allow me to introduce the amazing Dr. I beg your pardon, Reverend Dr. Anita Caprice Powell, who I've had the pleasure of knowing for just a few weeks, I think, but my God, has she made a profound effect on me. And that's what I would love to share with everyone. So, Dr. Anita, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a very busy lady, and thank you for being here to share your brilliance with us.
Oh, bless your heart. Bless your. Thank you, beautiful Jennifer, the Maverick CEO. This is my pleasure and my honor. Like you said, we've just met.
Yeah.
However, there's a special takeness. When we first met, I said, "Oh, I like her energy. I'm an energy gal. It's all about energy for me."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I like her energy, her realness, even her rawness with them pearls." I said, elegance and real at the same time. And I just,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's really interesting that how we can pick up almost immediately the vibes
yeah,
of each other and how things have just transpired. Things went from one thing to the other, and you've gotten to be really good associates first, but I think more friends who
oh,
really
thank you.
care for one another. And having said that, was it always like that for you, Dr. Anita? I know, tell us a bit about your life in the corporate world.
Well, my life in the corporate world, I did 19 years. I enjoyed 19 years tenure with the Michigan Department of Corrections. Before that, I was a server, a server, yeah, with this local union. I told a tale about my age and was able to get the job. I don't know how it wasn't discovered since I had to get a social security card and everything, but no one ever realized that I was 16 when I started that job. But
Wow.
hey, it was meant for me. There was lesson to learn in that and how to serve. So I was a server first, and then in 1979, after graduating from a business school, the school recommended me to, it was called Wayne County Probation in one of the courts. And from there, I served 19 years, and that was a blessing because when I first started, I was to be laid off. And it's something how things happen, Jennifer.
Mhm.
I started off as a stenographer, typing pre-sentence reports for judges, for probation officers that would share with the judge.
Mhm.
And during that time, there was something had occurred, and I was to be laid off. And I remember coming back from lunch, and I saw this pink slip on my typewriter. Now, mind you, my girls were born in 1978, so they were babies, and I'm a single parent, sole supporter.
Mhm.
So I come back from lunch, with this pink slip. I didn't know what it was because I never seen a pink slip before. But then I read it and it was saying that I was being laid off, and it just crushed me because at that time I was so happy saying, oh, I am somebody. I'm a stenographer. I'm called this. So I was called into the director the director's office who intimidated me like no end. This woman was powerful. We ended up becoming great friends, but she intimidated me. That was no tell with that. And she sat me down and she said, "Well, we're just laying you off because whatever." I forget what she said, but the thing here, Jennifer. One of the probation officers, I'll never forget him. His name is Reverend Clarence L. Cruz.
Mhm.
Back then,
Mhm.
and I can still see him in my mind. He went to the director, and I found out later, he said, "Don't lay her off. She's a young woman, single mom. Give her a chance." Because I think it was something, might have been something personal. Maybe she just didn't like me.
Mhm.
Um, but he said, "Give her a chance."
Mhm.
And it was him. I was not laid off. She brought me back into the office maybe a week later, and she said, "I'm going to let you know you are going to stay, but you're going to stay only because Reverend Cruz asked me to keep you."
Okay.
Intervention. That was the universe.
Yes,
And I,
absolutely.
see, it was not meant for me to be leaving there. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
And then from there, I did 15 years with 15 years in probation. I was a stenographer. Then I became a receptionist. Then I became the confidential secretary to the administrative director over the Wayne County probation, and
Oh,
then it changed to the state of Michigan.
mm,
Um, the last 4 years, though, before I left, I spent 4 years in the Ryan Correctional Facility
okay.
because my supervisor, who was retiring, I felt that 15 years, I learned everything that I could learn in probation.
Exactly.
I
Mhm.
was doing, as a confidential secretary, I'm attending meetings,
Mm,
I'm creating budgets, I'm doing all of this and
mm,
signing the names and all this and generating
mm,
memos and all that.
mm,
So I figured, I said, okay, well, I've learned as much as I can learn. So I said, well, let me go on over to the prison
mhm,
setting. And I spent 4 years in the prison. Um, now, in the beginning, I'm going to say, yeah, it was very something, I am this, but I'm going to share with you. Um, in the back of my mind, that was never a career, though. When I'm
mhm,
looking back, it was never a career because prior, my journey has always been, I want to know my relationship with the Creator.
mm,
That's
mm,
always been important to me. That's always been first and
Good for
foremost
both.
for me.
Mm,
So the job career thing, that was really never a career. And in during probation time, and I got to interject this, that was a time also when I going through that spiritual journey,
mhm,
different type of ideology,
mhm,
going through that journey, traveling that path.
mm,
um, I came across metaphysics. I
mhm,
came
mm,
across that meditation.
mhm,
And once I began meditating, it was in the 80s when I would meditate that I would be told in my own voice, because you
mm.
hear, for me, I
Yeah,
hear the creator in my own voice. So I
absolutely.
would hear, you're going to have to leave that job and you
Mm,
have to leave it on a wing and a prayer. And I know what that meant because all through my life, I would always say, I'm from the state of Missouri. In the states, the state of Missouri is the show me state. So I would always say when we're talking about the religion or whatever, God, whatever the different divine educators, I would say, well, I'm from Missouri. I'm from the show me state. God got to show me. I'm just not just going to take what's said,
mm,
at face value. God got to show me. So that's just always been what I would say. So then when I started meditating, Jennifer, I would hear these things like, okay, you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to leave that job on a wing and a prayer.
yeah.
And that scared me because, again, this is now in
Responsibility.
the
Yeah.
80s. Yeah, I got my daughters. I said, I'm not leaving a job with good health insurance, and I wasn't making bad I was an hourly employee, and I wasn't making bad money. And plus, it was the honor system. I didn't punch no clock. I came in when I came in and left. You know what I mean? And I put down my 40 hours. That's the type of job it
Mm,
was.
mm,
Well, I would stop, and then I would regain, do the meditation, because that's what, it just pulled me, my spirit. Once you start, well, at least for me, once I started meditating, it was like, hey, that's part of you now. I mean, you may stop it because you say, I don't want to be dealing with, I don't, things be happening when I meditate, kind of energy
Mhm,
going on. So I said, let me stop. But I kept, it wasn't until when I was in the prison system,
mhm,
um, and that's one thing that I learned. So the corporate world more so taught me like how to organize,
mhm,
how to be gracious to people.
mhm,
When I got into the prison system, I would speak with the inmates. Now these are inmates maximum. This was a maximum prison, and these inmates were serving life. And I would speak with them just because it's brothers. I mean, we would just
mhm,
talk and stuff. And I had questions, because they were so incredibly talented. And I would just be asking them questions like, well, how did you become this great portraiture, this carpenter, this leather maker, these different types of media, artistic media.
mhm,
Tap Into You was born. I didn't realize it, but
mhm,
Tap Into You was born then, because what I realized, Jennifer, the thread, that
mhm.
common theme that I heard from every
Really.
single inmate, and I spoke with a lot of them. They said, I didn't know what I had until I was forced to be still. Until I was forced, when they put me behind these bars
Mhm.
and I was forced to go inside myself, that's when I recovered who I was. Every single last one of them, Jennifer.
Which is
That
so amazing,
amazed me.
which is absolutely amazing. And
Yes.
and it's because of that experience that you had with dealing with inmates, because many people have these interesting concepts about, oh, we cannot talk to them or we cannot do anything with them. But they, at the end of the day, are human beings as well. Okay, they may have
Abs-
done whatever they've done, but to have that kind of courage that you have, to be able to communicate and to go out and actually connect with them, is really, really cool. So is that the time that your company was born, your movement was born? Tell us more about
Yeah,
what is
you know,
tap into you for.
yes, Tap Into You movement was born, I think, years later. See, that was the seed.
Mm,
When I
mm,
was speaking
mm,
with those inmates, that tap into you,
mm,
that
mm, mm,
seed. When I completed
mm.
classes,
Yeah.
that's when, I went through the life coach, and then there was another one, and then I transitioned into the transformation, because it's all about change, the change.
Change.
And it
Yes.
wasn't until when I completed that transformation coaching course did Tap Into You come. And I was on a call. It just happened. I was on a call, and we were it was a group conference call with different several coaches, both men and women. And one of the guys had said, yeah, we were talking about tapping into ourselves. And then all of a sudden, that's it, just in my head. I just saw TAP, the letter N, the number two, the letter U. And I
Mm,
said, oh my God, Tap Into You.
mm,
And then from Tap Into You, it's like with my poetry. A lot of times I don't grasp the essence of my poetry until after it's written. And it was after when I saw the TAP, the letter N, the number two, the U, that I realized, I said, oh, this is six, cosmic love. This is six, home responsibility and service. Oh, you divide it by three, by two, we have three, self expression, love and affection, Holy Trinity, me, myself, and I, id, conscious, subconscious. And I said, oh my God, the Tap Into You. And then from there was just Tap Into You concept. And as I would not necessarily think about it, because I even have a Tap Into You mantra, that I
oh,
that I
wow. You've
that
got
I
to share that.
create.
We've got to share that too.
Sure,
Okay. No, what I like it, if you could send it to me, I'd like to have it in the show notes that people are actually,
absolutely.
I think
Yeah,
that's a cool thing to
absolutely.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't until the journey continuum. Everything for me is it's not there are some instances we say, aha, aha. Um, but as I look, with my life right now, it's like I see that the journey it was a continuum.
Mhm.
It's like the subtleness of
Yes,
things. There
exactly.
are major things that occurred
Mm,
where it's like the universe said, okay, here's another biggie for you to see how what our relationship is. You know
mm,
what I mean? Not necessarily
mm,
what I mean, what you think the universe means, but this relationship. So I think it was just the journey in and of itself. And then when I began to really embrace, because and I know I'm not the only one. When I began to really embrace and say, okay, I'm not afraid to say that we are human and divine.
mm,
That's when the movement is said, no, this is not just a concept or a construct of
mhm.
a business, because I don't have a business, and I share with people I really don't have a business.
Yeah.
Um, this is a movement
Movement, exactly.
because it's so. And then I thought about at that point, I what's close to my heart is people dying by suicide.
Mm, 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 mm.
And my thing, it breaks my heart. I mean, when I see signs every 7 hours in Michigan, one person dies by suicide. And my thing is that, if we only knew, if we knew, I mean, and I don't mean up in here.
Yes,
I mean, we're
but
taught to be
they
logic,
said.
think with your head.
Mhm.
If we knew in the center of our heart that there's something greater in us, I mean, really know it, I think it'll be less hopelessness. Because to think, and I remember I was 16 walking down the street on someone with my hip hugger bell bottoms on, looking up at the sky, because I was taught God is in the sky, he's a he, this and that, and that's fine. It just didn't work for me. It didn't make sense. But I remember walking down the street saying, I feel so alone.
Mm, mm,
How do you know that I'm here?
mm, mm,
How
mm.
do you know, out of billions of people, how do you know that I'm here? I want my relationship with you. You're too far away, you know? And why am I a female if it's the male that's the good? So I must not be, and being taught you're born a sinner. So so these things stayed with me. You know what
Mm,
I mean?
mm,
So there were times, yeah, I felt helpless and hopelessness, and just in my mind, it's just in my mind, Jennifer,
mm.
that to me, I'm saying, if we all knew just how like the God memorandum says, if we all knew just how special the miracle that we are, and how close we are connected with God, the universe, the creator, however you want to say it, because that essence is within us.
Exactly.
Oh my
Totally.
God.
I agree with. And it's so strange that you're saying that because that has been my personal ethos as well. And I write about it. It's like if we are all infinite beings, okay,
Yeah,
then by default, and we are created in the image of God,
yeah.
then by default we have no fault. Okay. And it is, we have a choice to actually choose what works for us because
Mhm.
that is the essence of what has to come through us, which is divine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I truly
You know,
believe that. I truly believe that. And I think most of my life has been from that sense and that space of how I operate to
mhm,
create. Because
abs-
so when you talked about oneness and wisdom, when I was really wanting to be part of that, and you being
yes,
the amazing global chair,
yes.
an amazing person to look up to and to learn from.
Oh, thank
I
you.
was I was I was so touched, moved, and inspired by the message that we're bringing to the world. And because for me, it has always been, first, I was this corporate junkie. I have to admit, I was this businesswoman who had to get everything perfect. If
Okay.
it was not perfect, it was not supposed to be the right thing. And I had this distinction: this is right and this is wrong, and this is good and this is bad, and this one's, all that kind of. And all I was sensing was it was creating separation within me. Because if
Right.
everyone is, all of us are connected,
Mhm.
then who is creating the separation if it's not our thinking? Okay. And
Right.
as one of my amazing mentors says, thinking is stinking because Gary Douglas is the guy, and he's remarkable and has helped me to see life and living in a totally different way. I truly believe that my role is getting more people to become consciously aware in
Mhm.
the workplace, because you
Okay.
can't separate yourself. It's ridiculous when people
It
say you got to be like this in the office and you got to be like this at home.
right.
It's
There
all
is
crap.
no
It's all
right.
BS. I'm sorry. Really, it is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you are the one and the same person. And why would you
Right.
shut down all your awareness to be someone totally different when when you can actually be you unapologetically and be that amazing essence that is going to be a contribution to everyone within the organization?
Y- y- I so agree, Jennifer. You know, that's why I I'm a believer of the energy, and the universe is balanced. Even in chaos,
Exactly.
there's rings of Saturn. There's chaos, but there's balance. There's
Yeah.
order.
Yes.
And, I think on these things, and you mentioned, why not do this when we can do this in all sectors and areas of our life? I believe it's because we, and that's okay. We embrace so much of our humanness. We embrace so much of our imperfection that we've created a disbalance. I don't say get rid of our humanness. Like people say, get rid of the ego. No, no, no. The ego serves us well. It's just that we have reprioritized or realigned with the order, the natural order of things. Because my thing is, yeah, embrace those flaws because we have them. Embrace those imperfections. What I'm saying is bring up now, also embrace on the same amount of power and belief and trust. Now, bring it up and embrace your divinity too. Bring up and and embrace your perfection. Because when we do that, it's not a matter of arrogance. It's very, very humble. You know what I mean? What it
Yeah.
does is that it allows us to say, wait, I have this imperfection. Like I may say I'm 20 pounds heavier. At one point, just thinking of my limitations. I got to change this. I got to change this. I'm not good at this. I got to pay people to get coached on this. I got to learn how my intuition. got to pay to get back my instinct, and I got to do this. Instead of me I was, instead of us being so conscious of our frailties and imperfections, once we raise up and say, yeah, but there's another part of me. So, in
Mhm.
other words, I'm not just that imperfected person. I am imperfection and I am perfection. And when I'm facing obstacles or different things like that, in my fear, because it's
Mhm.
not about getting rid of the fear. No, to
Feel
thine
it,
own self
feel
be
it, and
true.
exactly feel the fear and get on with it anyway.
Susan Hay, yes. So feel it. I mean, embrace it, recognize, okay, I'm afraid. Okay, okay. But then now I know. And I'm learning at 65, I'm just so learning like the fun with it. It's like, okay, here's an issue. And my conscience, my mind may say, okay, hey, I'm not sure how to proceed. But then I know all I gotta do is tap and go within because there's a
Exactly,
part of
exactly,
me that I can tap into that is the power present and essence of the creator. And that's a beautiful thing. And when we
exactly.
realize that, that's when, I think that's when we become to be more natural, like, okay, I am who I am, and it's cool.
And have fun. Exactly, and have fun with it. The other thing is this, that everyone keeps, Dr. Zeus has mentioned that all of us are unique. So why try and fit in when you were born to stand out, right? Now, the funny part is this, that for the longest time, we all have been trying, and it was me, okay, I too, um, guilty as charged,
Uh-huh.
was so much wanting to be like somebody else,
Yeah.
okay? Now, the weirdest thing is this, that we've got our hands that actually are a representation of what, look at your fingerprints, lady.
Yeah.
Are they like anyone else's?
No.
Why would you actually want to be like somebody else when you, and that's when it hit me pretty late than never, but hit me all the same. Thank God for that. Is that if God is within us, okay, Creator is within us, then we are here to express that uniqueness that we've
Absolutely.
been created for.
Absolutely. That's how
Okay,
the Creator creates
exactly.
through us.
Can you exactly? And why would we want to be like somebody else? Because, and I love what Oscar Wilde says: "Be you. Everyone else is taken."
Everyone else is taken.
Okay?
Absolutely. That's why I love you. I mean, I said, we're just a one mind, that's one
Exactly.
energy.
That's the
But
thing.
that's, yeah, but that's it. The create, in the God memorandum, which I love, Agmandino, the greatest miracle in the world, he says that God, in that God memorandum, God is saying, I need you just like you need me. And it just, I mean, that's why I love when just things you learn stuff. Just today, or last night maybe, I was thinking about that. Okay, the creator needs. And then I thought about that. How does the creator express? Through us, through nature, through plants, through animals, through insects.
Exactly.
That's that that's yeah. So we're here to express
Yes.
the attributes of the creator by our talents. That unique gift that the creator blew into us before
Exactly.
we were even born, and
Exactly.
then culminating with our life, with our skill, which is our life experience.
And which is such an amazing, and it's so refreshing and so
Ain't it?
empowering to
Ain't it?
actually see ourselves as that gift, as that
Oh,
miracle. I mean, seriously,
yeah.
I just love the thing of, if everyone was to choose that, because then again we've been given this amazing gift, and that gift is our
Absolutely.
choice. And if we are
Yeah,
not choosing, what are we losing? We've got to
absolutely.
ask us that question, because I believe in asking questions. I truly believe that questions are the most empowering thing. And
Oh,
all of us, if we were to actually tap and go within, which is,
yeah.
it really turned me on when I saw that. I said, oh my God, this is so cool. Because I've got something else. I say, what if it's time for you to be the CEO of your life and living?
I know that's right.
Okay, and
I
that's
know
exactly it.
that's
It's about, it's not working from the outside. We've done too much on the outside. I think that's where the imbalance has happened.
mhm,
What if we were to look at the outside and go, does this actually work for me? Okay, what can I
absolutely
do differently? How can I create more with this? Is this resonating with me? Because if we
right.
were to have, as you mentioned earlier, the balance of
Absolutely.
the outside
Absolutely.
and the inside, what could we actually create, being in amazing merging and
Yeah,
coming together? Because there's too much of separation. We've
it
got
is.
to allow us to be in the oneness
Illusion.
and the
Yeah,
wisdom that we have. Now,
absolutely.
coming into, thank you so much for sharing. That is so awesome. We have to have some more conversations and share this, Dr. Anita. I think it's time that we share this. It's bringing a different essence to conversations. I truly believe that people will actually welcome this kind of conversation because it's something so amazingly unique and brilliant.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
tell me about the time that, so you have twin daughters.
I do.
Isn't that amazing? And I
I
love the
do.
way that you like to be introduced. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I've got two beautiful daughters, and I've got two beautiful sons-in-laws.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Five beautiful grandchildren.
MashaAllah, as they say in Arabic, MashaAllah, which
What,
is
what did you just say?
MashaAllah, which means God's grace.
Oh, Masha Allah.
Yes,
Okay, I want you to send. I love word. So I want you to send that to me so I
yes,
can
I
see
will,
it.
I will. And now tell us about the poetry. You are a poet.
Yes.
You're so many things, and which is amazing because I find it absolutely extraordinary. Is that when you said that you were all those things, I said, wow, that is so awesome. Simply because this is how I look at it. If we are a diamond, if we consider ourselves a rough diamond, and with experience, we have polished ourselves on one side, and then we forgot the rest of the sides. But then experience takes us into different areas of our life. And then we get polished on all the different sides as well. And then we become what they call the VVS1, which is the most amount of clarity in a diamond. So we are the diamonds. And I
Mhm.
love that you have taken all your different facets and are making them into appreciable assets.
Wow. Oh, I love what you just said. Wow. Ooh.
Okay. So,
Go ahead, Madam Wordsmith.
which is really amazing because forget about the words, you are actually walking the talk. So tell us about the different hats that you wear, madam.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, one, one, I'm a mom, and I'm a grandma.
The
I
most
that's number
important
one.
person, yeah.
That's number one. They are the reason. I mean, my daughters have given me so much inspiration and motivation and strength, and I call them my chickadees. I say, you'll be 100. You're always going to be my chickadees. Um, before uh, let's see, before I'm going to say professional, if you will, or artistry, I've always been a poet. Always, ever since elementary school,
Okay.
I've been writing poetry. A friend who I call my cousin, we're cousins. At one point, we would sit on the stoop and write poetry and share our poetry and things like that. And as I grew, as I was growing older, in my teens, I remember my grandmother. We were in the kitchen and she had said Angel, because my family called me Angel. She said, well, Angel, or even AIM for short for Angel. And she said, Angel, you need to share your poetry with people.
Mm.
And I had shared with her, I said, I would never do that because I said, Mama, I can't do that. I said, because then people would know who I am.
Mm.
I've always, yeah, that's why I embrace this human and divinity. I embrace the energy because growing up, I was not. I was one with very, very, very low self esteem. Now, I
Self-esteem.
was a pretty girl. I'm not going to be, I'm not bragging, but I was.
You
And
still are, lady. What are you
however,
saying that
oh,
you weren't?
thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. However, I was a lonely, I had brothers and sisters whom I loved, my family, don't get me wrong, nothing nobody did, just me. I was a lonely girl, and I didn't even go to my high school graduation because I didn't think anyone would clap for me.
Oh,
That's how low my self-esteem was. So this is the path that I was to go. You know what I mean? My journey. So but I share with my grandmother. I said I couldn't. I said because I can't. Then I said I can't. People would know too much about me, and I was always hiding. No, you can't get next. You can't get to me. I mean, that's why years later, when I developed type 2 diabetes and I learned metaphysically, is because I rejected love. Because
uh-huh.
I said, no, no, I'll give it to you, but no, 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 because I'm not
Not
worthy. I
willing
don't
to
deserve
receive.
it.
Yeah, not willing to
I
receive.
don't deserve this stuff.
Mm.
So I would say, no, I would never do that. But it's ironic, Jennifer, and it wasn't um, until later, years later. See, that's what I mean as far as I can't give you times and stuff, but it wasn't until years later. I knew it then when I was writing it, but all of my poetry, which I have a book of it's called Poetic Affirmations. In the love part, there's a spiritual because there are components, but even in the love part, where I've made a conscious um, effort to say, okay, now we're talking romance and intimate relationships. But every one of those poems, if you read them in the 80s when I wrote them, I was talking about my relationship with God. I was talking, that's how important this has always been to me. And it wasn't until when I was reading, I said, "Oh, one just one day, just oh, that could be talking about a guy. You're the sunshine in my life. Whatever, whatever, whatever." But I was talking back then. I was talking about Yehoshua.
Mhm.
Jesus. I was talking about God because that's what I learned, and that's what I was trying to get. But yeah, I've been writing. I've just been writing poetry all my life. I call them poetic affirmations because I know that these are grammatically incorrect. I know that I ain't following no kind of structure. You asked me. As a matter of fact, I'm to be on a podcast and talk about the layers of poetry. And I was going to start because I got stuff, information. I was going to get on that self. Let me get my information so I could talk about resonance, so I could talk about didactics, so I can talk about this. Until Spirit said, "No, you ain't. You gonna go in there and say, no, you don't know nothing about that stuff. You write from the heart." That's what
Exactly.
you do.
Exactly. No
So
form and no structure. It
no,
has to
I
come
don't. I
from
couldn't
within.
tell you.
That's
I
it.
know a stanza. I know rhythm and cadence. But my thing is, I said I'd rather have a piece that someone comes to me and say, "You know what, that touched me," than for someone to say, "Oh, that's so pretty." So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know what made me think that to say this here. That probably because of you, Jennifer. I mean, your energy is so loving and warm and welcoming, and I'm just feeling your warmth, and I'm just feeling so special. And I just want to thank before I even go further, I just want to thank you for that. I
You're
really do.
you're very welcome, and it's quite mutual. And the funny thing is this, that you've been a loner as a kid. Guess who was a loner too?
See, that ain't no fun, is it?
I was just not. And the weirdest thing is this: in when I was like 9 years old,
Hmm.
um, I remember for one full year in class, one full year, I just could not write correct at all. I was writing jumbled sentences. Okay, and for one year, throughout my grade, second or third grade I was in, I
Hmm.
just could not write anything. And my grandmother was so upset, and my sister was so upset,
Hmm.
and they were doing all the transcribing of my jumbled information that I was
Yeah.
bringing. And weirdly enough, after one year, I snapped back into something being absolutely okay. So I truly believe that in my life as well, there's been
Hmm.
divine intervention at every step.
You just gave me
Okay,
chills,
from
sis.
from from the age of 5, I could actually see things. I could see
Hmm.
images. I could see
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff, and people shut that down within me because they thought I
Okay.
was crazy.
Oh,
Don't be
see.
stupid. But you see, that is the intuitive capacity that each and everyone has if we allow it to awaken.
Absolutely. Yes.
If we allow it to awaken. And the one way
Yes.
that I truly facilitate a lot of change and transformation and within
Hmm.
people who are choosing it, it's not a forced kind of thing. Someone has to choose something when they're getting stuck and they can't move forward. It's about
Hmm.
allowing them to see that within them everything is possible, and
Absolutely.
that it's more about empowering people
Hmm.
to know that they know. It's not about me
Absolutely.
telling you anything. It's about you
Right.
really knowing. And my job is to question that through you for it to come
Absolutely.
out of you,
To,
for you to perceive it, know it,
absolutely.
be it, and actually receive it as a gift.
Absolutely.
And I truly
Absolutely.
believe that this is the time of transformation. It's a time of truly stepping into your amazing potency that you have not even cherished or recognized. Many people are awakening to that. And God knows we have had 2 years of a wake up and a shake up,
Yeah.
because that I truly believe is something that all of us have been brought into,
Hmm.
to look at things in a totally different way. You can't
Hmm.
have same old, and expect something different to happen. It's
No.
not happening at
No,
all.
they call that insanity. They said that's what's
Exactly.
insane.
Albert Einstein.
Oh,
That's
that's Albert Einstein said
yeah.
that? Okay.
he was truly remarkable. So now we have a book of poetic affirmations, and you
Yes,
have a new book, I've heard.
I do. I'm so excited
Like you to
about
actually tell us
it.
about it, and I'd like you to give me all the links, Dr. Anita, because I would like to have it in the show notes for my listeners to be able to go and have a look at it, purchase it, and talk about it.
Oh, oh, thank you so much. Absolutely. Yeah, my book of poetic affirmations is the third volume, and it's being sold as a beta copy
Okay.
because, and I just recently learned beta because I'm telling you, Jennifer, I did my own editing
Me
and
too.
proofing. I edited that thing. I proofed it not less than 15 times. And when the printing came back, I still found errors. So being me, I said, no, I can't, I said, I can't sell this at the price that I was going to do because of the errors. The messages are not lost, mind you, the messages are not lost. But I was sharing with a sister friend, and she said, well, there's such a thing as beta copy. So that's what I'm selling them as beta
Okay.
copies now. So
Okay.
at a much reduced price. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll
But the
talk to
message.
you after our podcast about what else I think should be done with those.
Okay, absolutely. And then your own universe. This is
Have you got a book? Have you got a copy of your book?
you know what? Let me see. If I can, it's right over here. If I can just
Yes,
move
yes,
away
yes.
for it.
Please,
Oh,
please
good. Okay,
do.
okay, cool.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't know. Sometimes people say you should, you don't.
No, this is just a very relaxed conversation, Doctor.
Yeah. So this is the book.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Reflections of an Angel. Oh,
Uh-huh.
it,
And the title is because, and it's inside the book. The title means that we're all angels of the universe, and our reflections are one. We all want to be happy. We all want to be fulfilled. There's no difference between me and you and me, and that's why the title is that because our reflections are really one. Yeah.
wonderful.
So, and it
So,
has four sections. It has starts with called spirituality, although everything to me is spiritual, the ritual of spirit, but I for lack of uh, un-
terminology.
thinking of other ways to say it. So the first one is the contents is prayer and meditation, and then we have love, devotion, and surrender. That's about love, relationship. And then the nucleus, that's about our family, and then another side, because there is another side to life. There's times, I mean, that is not so happy, and things that
Mm-hmm.
heart get broken, and different
Exactly.
things, you go down different paths. So those are the four sections within that
Wonderful.
poetic affirmation
Wonderful.
book.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm very excited to actually have a copy of your book. So I shall purchase it for sure to
Bless your
get
heart.
to know.
Thank you. What
And
I'm gonna reach like one of our sisters in Oneness and Wisdom. She's a new um, Philippine country chair. I'm sorry, my mind went blank for a minute. And she does websites.
yes, yes, yes. I know.
Okay.
I saw
Oh,
them. They're amazing.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So she says she does also land pages, landing.
Landing,
Because I'm not a
landing,
website person. I
landing,
had a website,
landing pages.
girl. I had a website for years, and I paid on. Finally, I shut it down. And years later, I was convinced to get another one. It got to the point I didn't even know my password. That's how often I would go in there. So I know now. I said, quit tripping, quit perpetrating. You're not a fake. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I think websites are wonderful. They're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I
But
don't
you're the
know.
creator. You see, that's another thing that we have to look at. You are a creator of information. And if you don't make, we should not make ourselves wrong if we are the creative kind. Like I would love to create stuff, but I'm not all that hot on the techie side. So
Right,
we've got to actually get someone who can really contribute to us on that and
right,
not make us wrong for actually not having all the skills and attributes
you're
of
right,
actually
right.
running a freaking business. Now, one thing that I have actually seen is that if each one of us, again, it we seem to be like pieces of the puzzle. Okay, and I love this this way of looking at life and people. If each one of us was a piece of the puzzle that actually creates the whole universe, and each one of us was to realize and recognize our value and our potency and our ability, capability,
Mhm.
and skills within that, then can you imagine each one of us coming together to create far greater? And would you imagine then that the whole universe would be in this beautiful tapestry made out of these puzzles when we all
Abs-
come together?
yeah, absolutely.
I truly
Absolutely.
resonate with that. And again, is for people who think that they have to have all the answers. No, you don't. That's
Mm-mm.
why we've got to come together in the
Got to-
oneness and in the
Right.
wisdom to create, to collaborate, and to celebrate one another.
Right. Like who's it? What they say? Henry Ford. Henry Ford. He said he hired people
Exactly.
to do different things. And Oprah Winfrey, she said, "Yeah, don't do it." She said, "I learned don't do it all yourself. Now know some about whatever that would know a little bit about of everything of who what you're hiring people for, so that you can so that you know
Yeah.
what's type of day it is, what's going
Mm,
on."
mm,
But
mm.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna get a I want a landing page. I am really resonating with that landing page. It's easy peasy. I'm an easy peasy, nice and breezy gal, and that just seems
I know,
easy
which is
peasy,
so awesome.
nice and breezy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now tell us about your being the country, the global chair, beg your pardon, for G100. What exactly is it, and what does
Ooh.
the G100 oneness and wisdom actually contribute to the overall image of G100? What is G100 for
Ooh.
people who don't know?
Yes, G100 is Group 100. It is a group of sectors or wings within the beautiful organization of All Ladies League, founded by, I just love her to life, Dr. Harbeen Aurora. I mean, this sister, she's just, I admire her. I I can't, sometimes when I think of the vision, her vision is just absolutely phenomenal. I said, this is one sister with a direct link with the universe, you know? So G100, so I digress. G100 has 100 sectors, and it can from health, education, science, all kinds of motivation. And we are oneness and wisdom. So, and our wing, I'm going to say wing, our sister circle wing, what we're here is to help sisters spread their wings and soar. And we do this by way of virtual platform. We have many initiatives, like Sister Sensation initiative, Wow Sister Zoom In, Sister Partner Project. We have all, and Literary Legacy. Next month, we are highlighting, and not only G100, we're highlighting uh, all ladies league. It's just well, this time it's I believe it's all G100. This is our second time doing literary legacy, where we are highlighting independent authors, and that's one of our another one of our initiatives. Our sister circle is just it's providing that nurturing, that nourishing food of substance with each other. It's helping us spread our wings and soar individually and collectively. You know what I mean? And I absolutely love our sister circle. I really do. This all ladies league, which consists of WE Women Economic Forum, Women India Chamber of Commerce Industry, She Economy, yeah, and then G100, and also the Denim Club. The whole thing, Dr. Harbeen's um, ethos is all positivity, no negativity.
Mm,
It is because the All Ladies League, and that's what I love about of all of everything, it began with All Ladies League, Sisters Beyond Borders, and merely sisters supporting sisters. You know what I mean? And from that love grew then business beyond borders, then governmental change beyond borders, then bringing on the brothers beyond borders.
I
You
love
and
that
it
aspect
all
because
I do too.
I think that it's a brilliant way of actually
Absolutely.
facilitating change.
Absolutely. And
Brilliant.
how did it all begin? Love.
Exactly.
Love is powerful.
I
Love is
truly, I like the word loving more than love, because I've had experiences where if I was to say I love you in a relationship,
mhm,
and I would have my way of thinking as to how love should be. And then
mhm.
what happens is that I project that onto you and expect you to love me the same way that I love you, which is where the confusion actually occurs. But if we were to be loving in our relationships, then we
Mhm.
have allowance of you being you, and whatever brings you joy, and I would
Absolutely.
be me, and you would be, there would be a loving relationship as opposed to expectation attached to it, you know what I'm saying? I
Yes.
it's I'm I've had experiences dealing with people who have
Mhm.
had relationship issues, which has got
Mhm.
to do with love, but then it's more about how people would perceive love.
That's
You
it.
know, it's all
There you go.
perception that
Yeah.
comes into the reflection of how we show up.
Absolutely. And it's and two, because the Greeks say there's seven different types of love.
Yeah, yeah.
We just put love all in one where it's eros or something, but there's seven different types of love.
Yeah.
And as we grow, I think too, when we have expectations, what we're doing is living within our own reality. And
Mhm.
that's, quite frankly, that's a bit of self-absorption. Whatever it is, what it is. What I share, like, it's not necessarily the words, but how Don Miguel and Jose Ruiz in the Fifth Agreement. I love that book. They did the four agreements. They came with the fifth, and they said how we use letters to perform to form words and then form sentences. And the bottom line is, he said, we've got to understand that everybody has their own reality.
Mhm.
And once we understand that everyone has their own reality, then we're more tolerant, we're more patient, because it's like, I'm not expecting you to live in my reality. It's one of those, like Sean Covey, the healthy seven habits of kids. One of the things is wanting to understand more than I want to be understood. In other words, I'm putting you first. So it's not, I'm gonna put you first. I want to understand you first, and then I'll share with you, and then we can understand me. So I think you're right. I believe that, Jennifer, that it's all about
Our
it's about our
perception.
reality.
Exactly.
What is my reality to another person? You know what I mean?
And then we also will pick up how it is our parents reacted or acted. So there's so much of projection that we think that we have to maintain, and
Hmm.
thus we have to lead our life that way because it's the right way, the only way, and the perfect way. My mom did it, my dad did it, and that's the way.
Right,
So
right.
the whole thing about for me, and the way that I have been able to shift and change within me for me is to become consciously aware by asking questions: is this really working for me? And
Right.
sensing in your
Okay.
body to see whether it's actually a heavy feeling or a light feeling, or do you feel like, it's like, you know or is it
Right,
like,
right.
wow? Because you can sense it. The thing is that we do
Yeah.
not give ourselves permission to sense, because the
Mhm.
mind is really ruling the roost. And we're
Right.
not allowing ourselves to really tap into the brilliance of who we truly are. Again, the essence of who we are.
Absolutely.
And I think that's
Absolutely.
awesome. Well, yes,
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
love
Like,
I love
what's
that. So and it's brilliant that we have you,
oh,
Dr. Anita, as a
mhm.
global chair for G100 Oneness and Wisdom. So what do you perceive is the way forward for oneness and wisdom to reach out, and what information, what is the message that you would like to share with people who might be interested in coming on board and adding value to your amazing vision and the vision of Dr. Harbeen Arora
Yes.
and the whole, the collective, from a
Right.
oneness and wisdom perspective? What do you look for people to actually be in this amazing chapter that you are global chair for?
Thank you so much. What I look for is a sister to just be herself. What I look for is a commitment to really us helping each other. I had just, I was thinking uh, um, about our sister circle, and we hold a lot of events. I mean, it is just beautiful how sisters are coming out, coming and stepping up. You putting those posters and things. I'm like, this is amazing. This is awesome. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely awesome. And I was even last week, I think it was, I was thinking, I said, okay, because I'm always thinking about, okay, how can we elevate our sisters? How can we enhance their empowerment? Because I don't believe that I create, my mother, she taught us, you don't create nobody's happiness or empowerment. You may enhance it, but you don't create it. So
Correct.
in my mind, I'm thinking, how can we enhance our sisters' empowerment and motivation and things, and just to help them. So then I created this email, and asked, I said, we've been general, like we have the events and everything with this beautiful literary legacy, and the wellness festival is coming. But then it's like university, yeah, but not everybody wants to be on, do a platform. Not
Hmm.
everybody, not everybody is ready to be a speaker, although they may want to. Not everybody, may want to participate in that fashion. So the idea came to generate an email to all the country chairs that have state chairs, that we have state chairs and state, city, province, and
Hmm.
borough and city and,
Hmm.
and region. So I reached out and I said, please ask uh, your our sisters. What I'd like to do is now on a intimate level. I want to know, how can we serve our sisters? And it's, and it was really something. One sister, one of the sisters chairs emailed and said how she wants to start her coaching business. I said, see, I did, I wouldn't have known. So now I think a couple of Ivy and Enolia too, I think they're going to form, and I'm going to get with them to see, they're going to form some type of session to have like a business coaching workshop.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But you see, now we're reaching. So what I see is that now we're reaching individual. We're
Okay.
reaching on an
Okay.
individual,
Individual level.
because when I was chair, I used to be chair of it was Michigan, used to be called Michigan Wellness and Wellbeing, and meetings. I was share. I said, at the end of the day, I want every single sister in this that's a part of us. I want them to say, yes,
Hmm.
this was beneficial for me. Yes, I've learned personally. Yes, I grew professionally. Yes, I am glad that I am in this sister circle. Every single sister, every one of us.
Wonderful.
That's what I see.
Cool. No, it's a very good thing, and I'm very fortunate that I'm part of the G100 as the UAE country chair. So thank you for the
Yes,
opportunity. Uh, okay, so having said
you're
that,
a blessing. You
seriously,
are. I'm so
it's
glad.
it's wonderful. Um, Now, having said that, before we say adios,
Mhm.
I always like to ask my guest to give our listeners three things in way of your wisdom of how they can be better connected with themselves.
Yes. One, learn to have fun.
Oh, yes,
Life has taught me have fun. Nothing gets diminished when you have fun. As a matter of fact, it gets strengthened
exactly.
because you're in a relaxed state. You're full of love. So have fun. Recognize and know that it is okay for you to embrace that you are human and you are also divine.
Wonderful.
Embrace it. Love it. My third one is begin to trust who you are. Tap into your energy. First, if there's you're just starting, start on I'm going to say start on the outside and work in.
Mhm.
Start looking at that in that mirror and saying, I trust you. I trust you. I trust you and I love you.
Mhm.
And then start going within. And if you have any issue, I mean, it need any uh, help or want to talk with that, I'm always open. Meditation is key, and I ran away from it for years. I was, meditation is key because that's how you get in touch with the true, that truest of you. So those are the three things that I say.
Wonderful, Dr. Anita. Well, thank you so much for spending a nice amount of time talking about you, talking about your amazing brilliance of how it is that you do things, your books, your family, your personal agenda of how you would like to actually show up and unapologetically. And I love the
Yeah.
part about having fun. I think the first time we spoke, you said, girl, you gotta have fun. I said, babes, man, you're talking my language, woman. It was so cool. It was so cool. So, having said that, we were in conversation with Reverend Dr. Anita Caprice Powell, a woman of substance, I would like to call her, a woman who has done so much for so many people and still carries on today.
Wow.
What inspiration can we receive from her? God knows I have. And I hope this conversation is going to help my listeners and everyone who's going to listen either today or tomorrow or later on to get some amazing tips from this woman who truly is remarkable. And God knows I celebrate her for her brilliance. So thank you very much for the time, Dr. Nathan. And you could say bye. And we are going to actually share all the details of your books. So please send them over to me.
I
And
sure.
everyone out there, thank you very much for taking the time to listen. And I'm quite sure that there are lots of pearls of wisdom that will help you to come into the oneness of who you truly are.
See, there you go. Look at
Thank
thank you, Jennifer.
you. Thank you so much.